Good wishes, dear students. Today we will learn from the poem, and that is chapter 7. I know why the caged bird sings. It is written by Maya Angelou. Here we will see that this poem contains of 6 stanza. If we will see the poem in detail, stanza 1 tells, the poet begins by referring to the flight of a free bird who springs free from the ground to fly in the direction of the air current. It looks as if the bird had immersed his wings in the orange rays of the sun, covering the sky. The free bird flies as if the sky belonged to him. Here in this stanza, the poet is describing about the free nature of a bird, which this nature has given a great gift to every living things, and these birds also, these creatures, they enjoy this free gift of nature. Here this bird also springs free from the ground to fly in the direction of the air current, the direction through which the air is blowing. And this bird, it is appearing that its wings are going into the orange rays of the sun, and it is appearing that it is covering the whole sky. Poet wants to describe in this that birds are free to fly and they enjoy their freedom by flying from one place to another. They appreciate God's gift by flying, by singing. So the free bird flies as if the sky belonged to him. This is the nature of a bird who flies high in the sky and pertaining that sky belongs to that particular bird. So this is the nature where freedom is being shown of a bird. Now in stanza 2, the next stanza expounds the condition of the caged bird who is constantly watching down his cage. He can almost never see through the bars. His vision is limited. He is enslaved. His wings are clipped and his feet are tied. Under such circumstances, the only option he has is to open his throat to sing. Now in second stanza, Maya Angelou, the poetess, has described that if that same bird goes into the cage, what will be the condition of that particular caged bird? Now in first stanza, the bird was flying high in the sky, it was enjoying its freedom. But in second stanza, if the same bird is in the cage, that bird cannot fly high, its wings are also clipped, its feet are tied, and it cannot see the open area. It can see only the bars of the cage. So here it is showing that how pathetic condition that bird must be feeling. Now in stanza 3, the caged bird quavers while singing of the things unknown. He realizes his condition but still longs for freedom. The poet reveals that the bird's cry for freedom is heard at a faraway place. Now this is the concluding part of stanza 2 only. In stanza 3, this bird is quavering that now it is in the cage, it cannot fly. He realizes the condition but still longs for freedom. That bird is knowing that he is in a cage and cannot go out of the cage. But still that bird has the hope that one day it will get free. But one thing that bird can do is to sing, because singing and voice of speech cannot be stopped by any cages. So here this bird, its voice was free. It was not behind the bars of the cage. That's why this bird was singing freely from the cage also. Now in stanza 4, this stanza goes back to the unrestricted movement of the free bird. The free bird thinks of another breeze. The poet also mentions that fat worms that are waiting on a lawn at sunrise to be consumed by him. It appears as if the bird had named the sky his own, since there are no other birds to connect with him. Now this stanza is referring to stanza 1st and stanza 2nd, where this bird was thinking of the unrestricted movement. When this bird was free, it was going high in the sky, uh, flying high in the sky. It was having a great freedom for that bird, and it was only thinking that what has happened, the last breeze which that bird has felt when that bird was flying high in the sky. So here in this stanza, poet is describing about the feeling of a bird who is just thinking that when that bird was free, it was going very high in the sky, but now it can only think about it. Now in stanza 5, that is the 5th stanza, depicts the bird in its cage, the cage that has now become the grave of the bird's dream. This bird, its dream has been killed by some other greediness, and here this bird is under the cage. It is appearing that this bird died, not physically but emotionally. This bird has died, and only it can have that the dreams of the freedom. The poet describes the bird cries as that of someone having a nightmare. Once again, the caged bird sings of freedom. This bird is crying just like the person who must be feeling a nightmare. In the same way, it is also crying. But only one thing it can do behind the cage, that it can sing freely. Now stanza 6, the last stanza, is a repetition of the 3rd stanza, which emphasizes the distressing condition of the caged bird. It can only think it is under the distress, that now only one thing it can do is to sing freely, and that bird has a hope that one day it will be free from the cage, and thus it is singing because one feeling of freedom it has, that is to sing, which no one can stop. That is the freedom of speech which God has given to this bird, and through his speech this bird is glorifying the God's gift which is given by nature. So this is the detail of the poem. Themes which has been taken in this poem is freedom versus enslavement, racism and slavery, voice against oppression. That is, those people who are oppressed, who are slaved, those who are under the cage due to many reasons, they have the feeling of freedom, and their voice can be a spark of freedom which no one can stop from them. Style which has been used here is the tone and dictation. The tone in the poet's attitude towards the subject of the poem, whereas diction refers to the poet's choice of the words. Here this poet has described in a very proper way the freedom and the pathetic condition of the bird who is under the cage. Some allusions are there, like Maya Glue, I know why the caged bird sings. Here allusion is referring to the bird sometimes dreaming, that it was dreaming that when that bird was remembering about the breeze which this bird has experienced last time. So here the rhyming type of words has been used, alliteration and repetitions has been used, and many part figure of speech has been used, like hyperbole, and dares to claim the sky, and he names the sky his own. All are hyperbole. Personifications has been used like, and the trade winds soft through the sighing trees. His shadow shouts on a nightmare scream. The sailing bird rides on the back of the wind. So these are the figure of speech which has been used. Some critical remarks in this poem are play of contrast. This poem has 6 stanzas which are being contrasted with each other. In some stanza, bird was flying high in the sky, it was free, and in some stanza, the pathetic condition of bird has been shown behind the cage. So this was all about the poem I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. So go through your textbook and workbook and get prepared yourself for online test. Okay students, thank you so much.